Good morning, Brownsville. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frankie Olivo. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting our local community. We have shed light on injustices, and we've allowed for our platform, this mic, to be that of the voice of the people. Now, this is something that you can see yourself supporting. Well, we ask that you like, comment, and share this live feed. Now, as of late, our Facebook page is at risk of being taken down. The powers that be do not want you, the voter, to know the truth. But remember, we will not be silenced. Now, if you're really about the cause and you want to stand up to corruption and you want to hold our elected leaders and those in leadership positions accountable, well, we ask that you join the cause. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow all of our social media platforms. Currently, right now, this live program is being streamed on X, formerly known as Twitter, and on Facebook. You could find us there under Frankie Olivo. Make sure to follow our personal page on Face. We could be found under Olivo Frankie. But more importantly, if you haven't already, make sure you create a Gmail account. Go to YouTube, like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel titled Frankie Olivo TV. It's free. Remember, I will never, ever ask you for money. I will never, ever ask you for food. All I ask of my community is something very, very simple. Be part of the cause. Like, comment, and share this live feed, and make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel titled Frankie Olivo TV. Currently, right now, on YouTube, we have 925 subscribers. The goal by the end of this year is to reach 1,000. I have made a promise to my community. If you help me get to 1,000 subscribers, I will release 3 banger stories that I have ready to go. They are very juicy. One of them involves a grading scandal at the high school where a fellow counselor somehow manipulated the grade for her child. That way her child could move up in rankings. We also have a story regarding a politician, a board member, that is very juicy. And remember, everything that we talk about can be corroborated with receipts, best believe. And possibly the most juiciest story out of them is administrators having sex on campus, on school property, on school time. And as they say, it's true. Sex does sell. Do you want to know what happened? Do you want to know what ended up happening with these stories in particular? I asked something very, very simple. Go to YouTube. Subscribe to our channel titled Frankie Olivo TV. It's free. My goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. Once we hit 1,000, we will release the stories. Remember, Good Morning Brownsville will come on Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. and sometimes a little bit after. It's the holidays. Please forgive me. So make sure that you subscribe to our social media platforms. More importantly, subscribe to Frankie Olivo TV on YouTube to tune in. We will not be silenced. And always remember, Brownsville, we are forever grateful to each and every one of you for the time and attention that you provide us. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. How's everybody doing? How we doing, chat? How we doing? This is Thanksgiving Eve, a holiday in which we remember the many blessings that are in our lives. And I hope that you have plans, you have arrangements made for tomorrow where you will be visiting, traveling, congregating, visiting your loved ones, spending the moment with your friends and family to give thanks. And to be thankful more than anything. I think we each have many reasons why we are thankful, but I guess we'll talk about that on tomorrow's program. Make sure you thaw out the turkey. Again, I haven't done that myself. I have never cooked the turkey myself. I'm barely starting to learn the process and the different ways to cook a turkey. Again, we'll talk all about that tomorrow, but make sure that your turkey is being thawed out. Some people like to cook starting midnight. Some people like to cook early in the morning. It just depends. Some people like to eat for lunch. Some people like to wait till the mid-afternoon. Some people like to wait for Thanksgiving evening to feast. The supermarkets, the H-E-B's, yesterday I went and it was bumping. I went for food and it's the worst time to go. Everybody right now is getting their last minute items that are needed. And for those that are waiting to the 11th, 12th hour, H-E-B will be open tomorrow from 6 a.m. to lunchtime, till 12 p.m. So just in case you have any last minute items that you haven't picked up yet, we still have time, but don't wait until the very, very end. Ladies and gentlemen, today we want to talk about something that now has been official. Vicente Gonzalez has officially announced his bid for Congress, and we want to pose to you, the community, the question. Well, now that it's official, now that Vicente Gonzalez has gone on the record and announced for re-election, we pose the question: what will Steve Guerra, the Port of Brownsville director, do next? And that is how we will start today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in, Brownsville.
Vicente Gonzalez here. We need to talk about healthcare because this administration has created a crisis for hundreds of thousands of South Texans and aren't doing a damn thing to fix it. After they passed the one big ugly bill that will kick 15 million Americans off low-cost healthcare plans, I made it clear that I would fight to extend the ACA tax credit that makes American healthcare more affordable for almost 130,000 people in our district. What did Republicans do? They shut down the government for 43 days. And when a deal finally came to the House, Republican healthcare crisis, or renew the ACA tax credits. Chaotic policies are already making everything more expensive, from groceries and clothing to furniture and electronics. Now they want to break the bank for life-saving care. South Texans shouldn't be forced to delay doctor visits, ration necessary medications, or in the worst case scenario, forego health care altogether because of skyrocketing costs. I'm glad that the government is reopened so workers can get their paychecks, families can get the help they need to put food on their table, and air travel can return to normal. However, we can't just ignore the looming healthcare crisis. So where do we go from here? The Senate already agreed to vote on an ACA tax credit in December, but to no one's surprise, Republican House member Mike Johnson has not committed to do the same. That's why just last week, I signed a discharge petition to force the House to a vote to extend the ACA tax credit for subsidies for 3 more years. We need 218 signatures, and I'm hopeful we get there soon. I refuse to abandon South Texas families like the 60-year-old couple who earns $82,000 and a year and now has a health insurance cost increase of $16,500. Or Alex from Brownsville, who relies on ACA coverage to manage a chronic health condition he's had for over 3 decades. And without it, he will pay nearly $1,000 more out of pocket for medications. Healthcare is not a partisan issue. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, it affects us all. From South Texas to the halls of Congress, I won't stop fighting to make sure we have affordable coverage.
Congressman Vicente Gonzalez out of McAllen on Tuesday did announce that he will be seeking re-election for the 34th Congressional District of Texas. Now, Gonzalez, he was first elected in 2023 to represent the 34th District, which covers currently right now parts of Hidalgo and Willacy County and For us here in Brownsville, Cameron County, Vicente Gonzalez previously represented Texas' 15th Congressional District from 2017 to 2022, and currently right now is serving his 5th term in the United States Congress. A lot has been stated in regards to this race, as many of us have been monitoring the situation. Well, a lot has changed. In our area, we have seen how the maps have been redrawn. If we talk about the last 4, 5, 6 years, we have seen how Mayra Flores won a special election against Dan Sanchez for the vacant seat of Congressman Filemon Vela. Mayra Flores did flip South Texas red. The first time it's ever been done in years, 100 years, which was a monumental event. What happened shortly thereafter was something that ultimately benefited the Democrats. The way it works is whenever we talk about congressional races, it's all logistics. It's all a game. You have to make sure that the odds are in your favor. Now, when we talk about Vicente Gonzalez and his bid for re-election, well, he is going to be facing a challenge. Whenever we talk about this past race against Mayra Flores that he won in this past November of 2024, and if you were following, and if you follow this program regularly, we showed how Mayra Flores has been narrowing the gap. Again, Vicente Gonzalez and Mayra Flores have gone head-to-head twice. And in those 2 times, Vicente Gonzalez has been victorious. What we have seen as of late has been that Mayra Flores has been inching closer and closer and closer to Vicente Gonzalez. Now, remember, I spoke about how this is a logistics game. It's all about numbers. When you talk about people in Washington, people in Austin, ultimately that is what they rely on, numbers. Now, we have spoken previously about the congressional maps. President Trump has focused primarily in Texas and in other states to make sure that he has a larger margin of support within the United States House of Representatives. Texas, after the maps were redrawn, is seeking to create 5 Republican seats that will help President Trump and his agenda moving forward. We have spoken previously about legacy. When you think about each president, we can possibly remember what they are or have been or will go down to be their legacy in history. President Trump is very adamant that he wants to make sure that he has and can count on the support of fellow congressmen. There have been people, Chip Roy comes to mind, Macy comes to mind, of people that have not aligned wholeheartedly 1,000% with the president. Again, this is a numbers game. These previous elections, we have seen how Mayra Flores back in 22 lost by 7 to 8 points in that range. Before you on this screen, I have the election results from House District 34 this past November of 2024. What we have seen throughout the years is that the Republican Party and Mayra Flores has gone from losing 8 to 10 points, now losing less than 3 points. Again, it's a numbers game. when we think about the previous map, in 2022, the Democratic Party did reshape Congressional District 34, the map. It favored the Democratic Party. This past November 2024, this congressional map favored the Democratic Party plus 15. And for those nerds, for those individuals that aren't nerds such as us and that do study margins and points, the way maps are drawn, whoever is in power, usually the way it works is you design a map in a way that's going to be favorable to your party. Remember, these presidents are after a legacy. These presidents are after being remembered for their policies and agendas that they implement. And they want like-minded people in Congress to vote and approve their agendas. This past 2024 map was a map that favored the Democratic Party by 15 points. Washington heavily invested in Vicente Gonzalez this past race. $5 million was put into this race in support of Vicente Gonzalez. That is not including $2 million that came from multiple PACs that came in favor of Vicente Gonzalez. So in this past race, we can say that the map that was previously drawn for South Texas Congressional District 34 that favored the Democratic Party by plus 15 points saw Vicente Gonzalez have $7 million in his war chest, $7 million at his disposal. Maybe we may not understand and comprehend the magnitude and how expensive these races are. Currently, right now, after seeing the campaign finance reports of these GOP candidates, we don't have one that we could definitively say, wow, this person is, besides Mayra Flores, and I'll get to that in a bit. We can't say that this person is raising millions and millions of dollars because, again, whenever you talk about running for Congress, you need a minimum of $1 to $2, $3 million just to be competitive. That's not even enough to win the election. The Democratic Party, once again, did invest $7 million in Vicente Gonzalez in a map that was plus 15, favoring the Democrats. Many insiders, many in Vicente Gonzalez's camp were confident. We're very confident. They said, we've done our polls, we've checked the numbers, we're plus 15, we have nothing to worry about. The results were very interesting because we finally saw how the Republican Party has been narrowing the gap of the Democrats. Again, plus 15 was the map, and Mayra Flores came less than 3% of being elected. We've spoken previously how 5,000 votes in a congressional race isn't that much. We've talked about how 5,000 votes in a school board race, in a municipal election, possibly in a county race, it's a done deal. When early voting comes out and you're down by 2,000, 3,000 votes, it's over. So the Republican Party, they see this. They see how Mayra Flores was very competitive in a map that heavily favored the Democratic Party by 15 points, the margin of error. And they are very confident moving forward. Again, $7 million was invested in this race, and Vicente Gonzalez was only able to win this race by 5,000 votes. Many people argued and said, well, that's not a good look. Because again, District 34 back in 2024 heavily favored the Democratic Party. So for someone such as Mayra Flores to just come within 2 to 3 points is very interesting. Now, when we talk about today's maps, District 34, now I'm going to show you what is facing Vicente Gonzalez. Currently, right now, the map that is drawn, the new map that has been drawn, if we look at the right side, the left-hand side of your screen is the new congressional maps, the new districts. We're focusing on District 34. But when we focus on the picture on the right, I want us to go to the third column from left to right and go all the way down to 34. Do you see that 11%? These maps were designed in a way to make sure, well, make sure is a strong word, to give the Republican Party a comfortable margin of victory. Now, whenever we talk about polls, whenever we talk about points, margin of error, they're not exactly accurate, right? And again, we go back to the example that we just gave with Vicente Gonzalez. He was believed to win this race by 15 points. What did we see? We saw how he only won by 2.6% of the vote. Is this alarming for someone such as Vicente Gonzalez and the Democratic Party that he is running in a race that now favors the GOP by 11 points? It's something to think about. And maybe it's something to worry about moving forward. Now, there is no question that Vicente Gonzalez has proven that he can fundraise. Again, he had $70 million in his war chest for 2024. Would he be competitive? Yes, without a doubt, it would be competitive. But now the way the map is drawn, now it favors the Republican Party. Previously, the previous map in 24 only went up to Kingsville. Now the new map goes all the way up to Nueces County, to Corpus Christi, Texas. And for those individuals that possibly aren't aware, for the most part, Nueces County and a large part of the new drawn out map in Nueces is predominantly Republican. Should Vicente Gonzalez and the Democratic Party worry? Yes, it is something to worry about. We started today's program showing you how someone such as Vicente Gonzalez talked about the government shutdown. It is interesting because each party always tries to place blame on the other side, right? It's only natural. The way it works is, in order for the government to have reopened, the number is 60. You need 60 votes, 60 senators in order to reopen the government. What we had, and the reason why we went 43 days with the government shutdown, is because there was only 55 Republicans or 53 Republicans and 2 independents, if I'm not sure. There was a need of 5 Democrats, 5 Democratic voters to agree. Ultimately, after the 43 days, we did see those 5 crossover votes that finally came out and said, you know what? Americans are suffering. We need to do something about it. We had someone such as Senator Fetterman from Pennsylvania. He said that he saw no reason why his party should continue with this shutdown. Remember what I said, that everybody was blaming the other party? Oh, well, the Republicans don't care about SNAP recipients. don't care about the middle class, don't care about those individuals that are hurting right now. Essentially, what people aren't making it clear is that the Democratic Party 14 or 15 times voted against reopening the government. There was a standoff. Who's going to blink first? Who's going to be a chicken? The primary focus of the shutdown was the Obamacare. While Republicans were calling for the end of providing illegals, undocumented individuals with health insurance, Republican Party, the Democratic Party, was saying that we need to extend the subsidies of the Affordable Care Act. We started today's program with Vicente Gonzalez talking about him wanting to extend Obamacare, the subsidies for 3 more years. Many people have been very critical of the Obamacare. Your humble servant is an insurance broker. I'm an insurance agent. I deal with this on a day-to-day basis. I can tell you definitively that this Affordable Care Act is anything but affordable. In these 15 years since legislation has passed this Obamacare, we have seen how premiums have been skyrocketing. This administration currently at the White House did not cause the issue. The temporary ACA tax credit, they did have an expiration date that was set. They were just a temporary fix to the failed Obamacare / ACA debacle. Now, maybe you're just Vicente Gonzalez possibly being forced to do his job and come up with a better health care plan. It is now a consensus, if it's fair to say, that people within the Democratic Party are starting to say, we need something else. This isn't working. This Affordable Care Act is getting expensive. Now, 43 days went on with the government being shut down, and thinking of the 43 plus days spent voting where no one could have used towards bipartisan legislation that might have replaced Obamacare. Because again, it is a money pit. Vicente Gonzalez has stated that he has been trying to provide these subsidies, these extension for the subsidies, but ultimately what he has done is his lack of action ultimately has created the issue for South Texans and for all Americans. You can't have your pie and eat it too, as they say. Why? Well, because you can't create a crisis and then pretend to be the hero who fixes it. Essentially, that is what the Democratic Party is arguing. Again, every party is placing blame. Oh, you're to blame, you're to blame, you're to blame. The Republican Party did state, let's reopen up the government, and then we will negotiate for whatever is that you want. The Democratic Party was steadfast and said, no, we will not open the government. Give us our extended subsidies for ACA, for Obamacare now. What could possibly happen, what Vicente Gonzalez should be pushing, is he should reach out to ACA providers. He should look to protect the tax credits before they expired. Why are we waiting to the 11th hour to make sure that this gets passed? Shouldn't this have been done a while back? It boggles my mind to think that we're going to wait until the last minute to fix an issue that essentially the Democratic Party created. Many people are arguing that the Democratic Party sabotaged the American people. They didn't stand shoulder to shoulder with the same people who caused this mess. They're placing blame on the other party. South Texas does deserve leaders that show accountability. There are many things that many people will talk about Vicente Gonzalez, one being the subsidies. It is a bad idea. It is a money pit. Why are we going to continue to throw money at the problem if eventually in 3 years we're going to be back to square one? Premiums have been skyrocketing. The only ones that have been benefiting from Obamacare is the insurance companies, the hospitals, the doctors, while we, the consumers, are the ones having to pay for higher premiums. He himself, in the video that we showed you this morning, he said Alex from Brownsville is having chronic conditions and he's seeing he's having these issues with healthcare. We have this couple who now has $16,000 of increased premiums that they're going to have to pay now. They're making $82,000. It seems as if the party has just been wanting to put a Band-Aid over the issue and kicking the can down the road. That is one issue that will be talked about and could potentially affect the Democratic Party as a whole during these midterm elections. Now, the midterm elections are difficult to gauge because many insiders, they say whoever is in the White House has a difficult task of getting their representatives for whatever party, blue or red, Democrat or Republican, elected in the midterm elections. That's the way it goes. It's like a yo-yo. If the Democratic Party wins, the Republicans have success during the midterms, usually. If the Republican Party wins the White House, then the Democrats have a better chance to win the midterm elections. Ultimately, what has been happening is that there are finger pointing. Each party is placing blame on the other party. When we talk about Vicente Gonzalez, well, he voted to hike taxes, which ultimately jeopardized benefits for South Texans. President Trump and Republicans' One Big Beautiful Bill had been signed back in the summer 2025 into law, which delivered huge wins for Texans. Here's a reminder of the pro-family, pro-worker policies that out-of-touch Democrat Vicente Gonzalez voted against for Texans. Real wage increase from $3,900 to $6,900. Real take-home pay increase from $7,500 to $10,700. Seniors benefiting from no tax on Social Security, $4 million. No tax on tips, share labor force benefit of 5%. No tax on overtime share workforce benefit, 27%. 580,000 jobs were protected because of the Big Beautiful Bill. The NRCC does state the facts could not be clearer. President Trump and the Republican Party's One Big Beautiful Bill is a huge win for Texans. Instead of supporting this landmark legislation, out of touch Vicente Gonzalez tried to stop it, and Texas voters will not forget. Another very big topic was transportation, was TSA workers, Border Patrol, Customs, ICE, federal agents. Our military. Well, our military, I think they did get paid because there was funds allocated for them. When we talk about our federal agents that are in harm's way, they themselves did not get paid. Many people place blame on the Democratic Party because of this. Again, many people are claiming that they held the country. More importantly for us here in South Texas, they held South Texans hostage. With Vicente Gonzalez's announcement for re-election, how do you think he will favor in this race? Would it be competitive? Do the Republican Party's 10, 11 points of victory, margin victory, give them enough to be comfortable? Would it be such as this past election where Vicente Gonzalez was favored by 15 points and Mayra Flores came oh so close, 5,000 votes, less than 2.6% of winning. Would Vicente Gonzalez be able to eclipse that? Has he done a poll in the field? Does he want to see how he's doing? It will be interesting to monitor how this race will ultimately take shape. Again, Vicente Gonzalez does have a challenger in the Democratic primary, Etienne Rosas. Etienne Rosas, from my understanding, is more like a socialist. We will talk about him and break down his platform in the very near future. How will Vicente Gonzalez fare in the congressional race that heavily favors now the Republican Party? But more importantly, here for South Texas, we want to pose the question: what will the Port of Brownsville director Steve Guerra do? Many insiders have stated that Steve Guerra is contemplating running for the Cameron County judge position. Eddie Trevino has been an incumbent who is seeking his third term, who has been very strong, who has withstood controversy. The Tanasca fiasco, when Carlos Cascos, the Republican former Secretary of State, when he ran against him, many people thought, oh, Judge Eddie Trevino has so much baggage. Carlos Cascos is going to come back and dethrone him. What did we see? Through controversy and all, Eddie Trevino still came out on top in that race. And there are many factors that many people attribute to it, but he was still victorious. Now, why are people saying that Steve Guerra is going to be running for Cameron County judge? I don't know if it was a shot at ego, if something was said. People have confided in us and said that the reason why Steve Guerra is contemplating running for Cameron County judge is because of ego. Is because of something that Judge Eddie Trevino told the congressman. Now, talking to people, what I have heard and rumors have circulated that there is a high probability that Steve Guerra will be running for Cameron County judge. Our platform posed the question, well, will he be running as a Republican or a Democrat? Currently, right now, well, as of a month ago, I haven't checked as of late. I do apologize. I might have this information wrong, but a month ago, Steve Guerra was a registered Democratic precinct chair for the Cameron County Party. Many people criticized our post when we posed the question, will Steve Guerra run as a Republican or a Democrat? Many people said, what are you talking about? How dare you say that? Steve Guerra is good friends with our Democratic congressman. He is a Democrat precinct chair. There is no question that Steve Guerra will be running as a Democrat. But again, our purpose or our platform is designed in a way to have a conversation. And whatever we post is always substantiated. We don't just throw things at the wall and hope they stick. We can corroborate the information that we receive from several parties. At the end of the day, that's our job, to provide you information. And while we were investigating and looking into this story, we did confirm with multiple people, either that were close to Steve Guerra or are in the know. They did say that Steve Guerra was actively gauging the idea of running in the Republican primary for county judge. Now, many people are calling him an opportunist. We saw how President Trump did win Cameron County. What was it, 52-48? Many people now are out to say, hey, I'm a Republican. Where before, 8-10 years ago, it was like, I'm a Republican. Maybe he sees the writing on the wall. The little that I know of Mr. Guerra is that he is a very proud man, very proud individual. He always talks about the accolades from his tenure at the Port of Brownsville. Maybe he feels that if he runs in the Republican Party, maybe that would benefit him if he were to be the county judge. Maybe being a Republican would create a better relationship with the Capitol, with the governor, with the president of the United States. It could bring stability, could bring jobs, it could boost the economy. It could have multiple factors, and it could help contribute to his legacy. That is what every politician wants to be remembered for, right? A thriving economy, providing jobs, providing policies that are ultimately going to shape and help the people that they serve. While the question of will Steve Guerra run as a Republican or a Democrat was raised, many people within the Republican Party were saying, not so fast, Torito, not so fast. For those that have been following the congressional race here in South Texas, District 34, we have seen how Port Director has been very vocal and very supportive of our current Congressman, Vicente Gonzalez. He posted this last year, Gonzalez has delivered nearly $8 billion to South Texas for necessary infrastructure, healthcare, and schools. Real results. And he asked his friends and family, please cast your vote for my friend, Vicente Gonzalez. Now, whenever we have seen, and history has shown us, that the Republican Party has welcomed Democrats. I could think of someone such as Jenny Lopez, who is the current state representative for District 37. She was a former Democrat who ran as a Republican and is currently our representative. In the Upper Valley in, Starr County, Ryan Guillen, during COVID, he jumped the aisle from Democrat to Republican. He has been serving his constituents for, going on a decade now? So it's not out of character. It's not something out of the blue. It's not a shock. It wouldn't be a shock to people if what I would consider a hardcore Democrat to jump the aisle. Steve Guerra has not lost a victory, has not lost an election. Would the Republican Party welcome someone such as him and his, prestige and title? Without a doubt. But they are those hardcore Republicans who say, we don't want transplants. We don't want individuals that are opportunists, that are just jumping at the last minute because it benefits them. It benefits their political aspirations, their political goals, their political agendas. We won't fall for that. What I have noticed as of late has been the Cameron County Republican Party is very, very zealous. And they're very proudful. Many people don't consider that I'm a Republican within the party. The chairwoman herself, she says that I'm not a Republican. Maybe now that we have shed to light that the Republican Party has openly endorsed, encouraged, whatever word you want to use, Susan, and has spent hundreds of dollars on known Democrats in the previous City of Brownsville municipal race that endorsed, paid for, encouraged their constituents to vote for a Democrat. Maybe now the Republican Party would welcome someone such as Steve Guerra to jump sides. Currently, right now, the Republican Party only has Mauro Garza that has officially announced for the Cameron County judge out of the Republican Party. Will Steve Guerra announce for Cameron County judge? And if so, would he run as a Republican? Now, again, that was a question we posed, a month ago, 2 months ago, because we were hearing that. He's gauging. He's contemplating his options. He's going to do this eventually. It's just a matter of time. But does this change? There is no question that everyone is well aware of the relationship that Guerra and Gonzalez have. It is he says, for my friend, for my dear friend. The question that I wanted to ask Steve Guerra, hypothetically speaking, was if he were to announce for the Republican primary for the Cameron County judge position, would he endorse each and every Republican candidate on the ticket? Because the way it goes is usually, and I'll take someone like Mayra Flores, for example. I have learned that Mayra Flores, when she campaigned this past 2024 election, November 24, she wasn't just campaigning for Mayra Flores. She was campaigning for every GOP, every Republican candidate on that ballot. She was campaigning for Janie Lopez. She was campaigning for Senator Adam Hinojosa. She was campaigning for Deborah Bell, the Republican Party chairwoman. It wasn't just her. And that is what the party expects of their candidates. Now, again, the idea is to focus on their race, right? Because they need to focus on their race. But the idea of the party is we want to win as a whole, as a group. We just don't want one in. We want as many candidates possible. Garza says all of these Democrats running as Republicans to seal the deal for Democrats on both sides of the ballot will not get my support or the support of many Republicans. People are aware more now than ever, with the exception to some of those that support people like Pedro Cárdenas, who receive campaign money from Vicente Gonzalez. And the reason why that was very interesting to me, Ms. Garza, of the idea of someone such as Steve Guerra of crossing over to the GOP side is because Steve Guerra has a lot of support. And I will dare say that he is one of the very few candidates. It doesn't matter whether he runs as a Democrat, as a Republican, or as an independent. He is a type of candidate that people are still going to vote for him. He has so much support from people, from the St. Joe crowd, from people from Matamoros that now have their address here and now are voters. There is no question that Guerra is a fundraising guru. He could raise the funds. He has the funds. He has the support. He has the resources. But Garza makes an interesting point. Many people are going to remember that Steve Guerra actively worked to get Vicente Gonzalez into office, not once, but twice. My question, hypothetically speaking, for Steve Guerra would have been, if he were to run in the Republican Party, would be, would you endorse the Republican candidate if they went up against Vicente Gonzalez? Because again, they're friends. Many people may not like if the idea of him answering, well, I'm focused on my race and, Godspeed to the congressional candidate for the Republican Party. Many people would be upset with that. I'm more than sure of that. Many people say, no, we want you to endorse our candidate. We want a Republican representative in DC. Many people might hold that against him. But after today's events, because Vicente Gonzalez, there was this idea, and this picture is from this past week or very recent. Vicente Gonzalez, there were many things going on behind the scenes. You know, our program got information that he was meeting with GOP leadership, primarily Ted Cruz in Washington. The city of Brownsville did go up to DC. Insiders were saying that Vicente Gonzalez was contemplating the idea of running as a Republican. That he sees the writing on the wall. He sees how the margin of victory highly favors the Republican Party in this new Congressional District 34 map. And he said, you know what? Maybe I could switch. Maybe if Ted Cruz could throw in a good word to President Trump, we'll pass everything that he asks for his support, for his endorsement. Again, I am an incumbent. I am in power. It eventually got to Congressman Gonzalez's team. And he posted, this is the most stupidest idea out there. We posted that Vicente Gonzalez, Steve Guerra, and Pedrito Cárdenas would run as a slate, as a ticket, as Republicans. That is what our information and our sources convey to us. And they said, this is happening behind closed doors. Make sure you report it. Make sure you work on it. And we did. And we were called out by the congressman. And we were very thankful for that. Why? Well, because he promoted our podcast. Can you imagine the jubilation, the orgasmic feeling that I felt knowing that a United States congressman reshared my post? Even though he bashed me, essentially what he did was he showed my GMB podcast. He showed my post. He didn't show my name, but Good Morning Brownsville did make waves. My insider said, wow, you got the attention of the sitting congressman. Chingate esa. But nonetheless, they say that politics is like dominoes. There's a domino effect. When one falls, it ultimately has an effect on someone else. Now that we see and have confirmed that Vicente Gonzalez is running once again, we anticipate as a Democrat for District 34, what will Steve Guerra do? It is my opinion that now, after this is all said and done, Steve Guerra will run as a Democrat. And here's why. The deadline to file for the primary in March 3rd, 2026 is December the 8th. We are less than 10 days away. Let me look at my map. I apologize. Let me look at my calendar. We're 10 days away, so to speak, más o menos, give or take. Less than 2 weeks away from the deadline, which we will finally know definitively which candidates are running in which race. There are people that are even saying that Eric Flores, the congressional candidate for District 34 for Republican Party, he's contemplating backing out. He hasn't officially signed. Maybe he's waiting at the last minute and making it official. Other people are saying no, his ego would not let him resign, would not let him not run. It's a done deal. He's too invested. But again, we won't know definitively until December the 8th. That is our mark. On December the 9th, we will go live with the story and we will try and cover each and every race that we will have on our ballots here in Cameron County in South Texas. And before, whenever I did pose and ask the question to insiders, many people did not want to give me a definitive yes or no. Many people criticized me and said, "What are you talking about? Steve Guerra would not run as a Republican. Are you dumb?" I said, "Well, maybe." But again, that's what our sources were conveying to us. Multiple sources, even at the Capitol level, they were saying Steve Guerra is contemplating running as a Republican. But the pickle that he finds himself in now is Vicente Gonzalez is running. Many people thought, oh, he's going to retire. He's going to, focus on lobbying, because Vicente Gonzalez is a very proudful man. He's got a big ego. He calls people losers. What would happen if Vicente Gonzalez loses his race? Would he be called a loser? Many people were even saying he's contemplating running for Cuellar's seat. What is that, 28? Henry Cuellar currently right now is in limbo. He has been dealing with allegations of corruption, of bribery, being a foreign agent, receiving money from Uzbekistan, him and his wife. I think they have a trial that is set. They keep on postponing it. Many insiders are thinking that he is going to ask. Henry Cuellar is a moderate. Henry Cuellar has voted on both sides of the issue. Compared to Vicente Gonzalez votes party line, die-hard Democrat. We haven't seen that with Henry Cuellar. Many people have thrown out, maybe that's why he got indicted by the Biden DOJ, because he was vocal about immigration, about open border policy, and other important issues that were affecting his district. Many people said, well, maybe Vicente Gonzalez would consider running in that race. Henry Cuellar is weak. He's got a lot of baggage. Many people are saying that they believe that Henry Cuellar would ask the Department of Justice to drop the charges against his wife, to drop the charges against him, and he would resign, which would ultimately possibly give way to Tano Tijerina, the Webb County, Laredo area county judge, who also he flipped from Democrat to Republican. So when I say that Vicente Gonzalez's announcement for re-election, it has a domino effect. And the question is, how will Steve Guerra? Would he even announce? That's another thing. We don't know definitively whether he would or he wouldn't. Because when he campaigned, he fundraised, he didn't specify. I believe his position for port director is coming up in May 2026. I could be mistaken. But when he had his golf tournament, which was a success, I hear, his fundraiser, he didn't specify the position that he was seeking. He just said, Guerra 2026. What will Steve Guerra do now? There is no question that the relationship that these two individuals have, it's a close bond. They're friends. Steve Guerra was at the White House with his family for Easter. He was invited by the congressman. There's pictures of his children being at the swearing in of Vicente Gonzalez. There is this bond that they have. Would it benefit Steve Guerra to run in the Republican Party? Many people say yes. Why? Because many insiders don't feel as if Mauro Garza is strong. Many people are questioning, is he even from Cameron County? Is he even from this area? I've asked his friends and I said, hey, do you believe Steve Guerra could beat Judge Eddie Trevino in a race? They said, yes. There's no doubt in my mind. And I asked, is he running as a Republican or is he? Well, I'm not at liberty to discuss that. You want to ask him? Da, 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 da. Nobody wants to go on the record. And that's okay. That's fair to say. How do you think this announcement of Vicente Gonzalez running once again for District 34, how do you think that will affect Steve Guerra in his announcement? Is he bluffing? Is he just making County Judge Eddie Trevino work, raise money, spend money, having sleepless nights? Or is he really anticipating and really thinking wholeheartedly that he could be our next county judge? His options are, I run for county judge. I run for county judge as a Republican, where he would be favored against someone like Mauro Garza in the primary. And maybe he would prefer to have March, November. That's what, 7-8 months, 7-8 months more to garner more support, to raise more money, to build up his war chest and his ammunition, and to be even stronger. Maybe that's what he prefers. Again, there's no question that he thinks he could win. But what's the strategy behind it? How is he going to go about it? Again, hypothetically speaking, because we won't know until December the 8th. Many people think that he can beat Mauro Garza in the primary. And maybe it would benefit him to wait the 7-8 months to meet County Judge Eddie Trevino in November. Maybe that's going to be a strategy. His friends say he could beat Eddie Trevino in March. That's not a problem. He's going to run as a Democrat. And I've heard, I've heard people say he's running as a Democrat. You have it wrong. I've heard people said he's contemplating running as a Republican. So what's going to happen? I've said it before, and I'll say it again. There's never a dull day in Cameron County and South Texas politics, ladies and gentlemen. There's always something to talk about. Now that we have Congressman Vicente Gonzalez announce that he is running for re-election, now all eyes turn to the port director for the city of Brownsville, and Steve Guerra. He has made it known that he will announce for Cameron County Judge, his candidacy for Cameron County Judge. But the question remains, will he run as a Republican to challenge Mauro Garza in the Republican primary? Or will he challenge incumbent Eddie Trevino in the Democratic primary in March? And that, my friends, is the rest of the story. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel titled Frank Olivo TV. Best believe we will come on Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Sometimes a little bit after. We do ask for forgiveness. We are in the holidays. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel titled Frank Olivo TV. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. I hope you have a blessed Wednesday. We'll be here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Frank Olivo, and this is Good Morning Brownsville. Peace.